My name is Ms. Joseph Albrecht, and I'd like to welcome you to our 2018 annual Poetry Out Loud competition. At this time, I'd like to ask you if you would please take out your cellular devices and put them on airplane mode or just turn them off. Thank you.
You're both doing that.
And without further ado, I would like to introduce our two hosts for this afternoon, Mr. Caden Miller and Miss Laura Samarani. Thank you.
Our first judge is a former English instructor right here at Toledo Early College, Mr. Eric Pilcher, known famously for his lack of shoe wearing and his catchphrase linguistically balling. Mr. Pilcher is currently a professor of curriculum and instruction at the University of Toledo. Next, Steve Tomczak, our accuracy judge, is a former intervention specialist and English instructor at Toledo Early College. He is currently an intervention specialist at Woodward High School. Let's give Mr. Pilcher and Mr. Tomczak a warm welcome back.
Our third judge is Laura Keller. Laura Keller is a senior lecturer at the University of Toledo. She teaches English, composition, and introduction to gender studies. She has been with the university for 20 years. She writes poetry and short stories and has had a handful of poems published in local literary journals. Last but not least, Ryan A. Bunch. Ryan Bunch is the Communications and Outreach Coordinator at the Arts Commission. He studied creative writing at the University of Toledo. He is a published poet and performer and continues to host arts and literary events in the community. Let's give another round of applause to our panel of judges.
Additionally, I'd like to introduce Ms. Kwiatkowski, who will be our prompter this afternoon. Our first recitator is Denasia Wesley.
Sugar Dada by J. Allen Russell. Go home. It's never what you think it is. The kiss, the diamond, the slam dance pulse in the wrist. Nothing is true, my dear. Not even this rumor of passion you'll doubtless insist on perceiving in my glance. Please, just go. Home is never what you think it is. Meaning lies in meaning's absence. The mist is always almost just about to lift. Nothing is true, dear. Not even this candle can explain its searing twist of flame mounted on cool amethyst. Go on home, not where you think it is, but where you would expect its comfort least. And still black stars our century will miss sing. Nothingness is not as true as this faith we grind up with denial. Grist to the midnight mill, morning's catalyst. Come, let's go home. Wherever you think it is, nothing is true, my dear. Not even this.
Next, I would like to call up Grace Garand.
Aria by David Barber. What if it were possible to vanquish all this shame with a wash of varnish, instead of wishing the stain would vanish? What if you gave it a glossy finish? What if there were a way to burnish all this foolishness, all the anguish? What if you gave yourself leave to ravish all these ravages with famished relish? What if this were your way to flourish? What if the self you love to punish, knavish, peevish, wolfish, sheepish, were all slipped up in something lavish? Why so squeamish? Why make a fetish out of everything you must relinquish? Why not embellish what you can't abolish? What would be left if you couldn't brandish all the slavishness you failed to banish? What would you be without this gibberish? What if the true worth of the varnish were to replenish your resolve to vanquish every vain wish before you vanish?
Next, I would like to call up Hiam Ali.
After the Disaster by Abigail Deutsch. New York City, 2001. One night, not long after the disaster, as our train was passing Astor, the car door opened with a shudder, and a girl came flying down the aisle, hair that looked to be all feathers and a half-moon smile, making open air of our small car. The crowd ignored her, or they muttered, "Excuse me," as they passed her. When the train had paused at Rector, the specter crowed, "Excuse me?" Swiftly turned and ran back up the corridor, then stopped for me. We dove under the river. She took my head between her fingers, squeezing till the birds began to stir, and then from out my eyes and ears, a flock came forth. I couldn't think or hear or breathe or see within that feather world. So silently, I thanked her. Such things were common after the disaster.
Our next recitator is Siham Abu Taha.
The Gap by C.K. Williams. If that someone who's me, yet not me, yet who judges me, is always with me, as he is, shouldn't he have been there when I said so long ago that thing I said? If he who rakes me with such not trivial shame for minor sins now were there then, shouldn't he have warned me he'd even now devastate me for my unpardonable affront? I'm a child then, yet already I've composed this conscience beast who harries me. Is there anything else I can say with certainty about who I was, except that he, could already draw from infinitesimal transgressions complex chords of remorse and orchestrate ever undiminishing retribution from the hapless rest of myself? The son of some friends of my parents has died, and my parents, paying their call, take me along. and I'm sent out the dead boy's brother and some others to play. We're joking around, and some words come to my mind, which, to my amazement, are said. How do you know when you can laugh when somebody dies? Your brother dies. Is what's said. And the others go quiet. The backyard goes quiet. Everyone stares. And I want to know now why that someone in me, who's me yet not me, let me say it. Shouldn't he have told me the contrition cycle would from then be ever upon me? It didn't matter that I'd really only wanted to know how grief ends and when. I could hear the boy's mother sobbing inside, then stopping, sobbing, then stopping. Was the end of her grief already there? Had her someone in her told her it would end? Was her someone in her kinder to her, not tearing at her, as mine did, still does, me, for guessing grief someday ends? Is that why her sobbing stops sometimes? She didn't laugh, though, or I never heard her. How do you know when you can laugh? Why couldn't someone have been there in me, not just to accuse me, to explain? The kids were playing again. I was playing. I didn't hear anything more from inside. The way now sometimes would sing me is silent too. And sometimes, though never really, forgets.
Do that.
Ode to the Midwest by Kevin Young. The country I come from is called the Midwest. Bob Dylan. I want to be doused in cheese and fried. I want to wander the aisles, my heart's supermarket stocked high as cholesterol. I want to die wearing a sweatsuit. I want to live forever in a Christmas sweater, a teddy bear nursing off the front. I want to write a check in the express lane. I want to scrape my driveway clean myself early before anyone's awake. That'll put them to shame. I want to see what the sun sees before it tells the snow to go. I want to be the only black person I know. I want to throw out my back and not complain about it. I want to drive 2 blocks. Why walk? I want love and stuff. I want to cut my sutures myself. I want to jog down the river and make it my bed. I want to walk its muddy banks and make me a withdrawal. I tried jumping in. Found it frozen. I'll go home, I guess. To my rooms, where the moon changes and shines like television.
That was John David Height. Next, we have Sophia Parrish.
What the Oracle Said by Sharon McKellum. You will leave your home. Nothing will hold you. You will wear dresses of gold, skins of silver, copper, and bronze. The sky above you will shift in meaning each time you think you understand. You will spend a lifetime chipping away layers of flesh. The shadow of your scales will always remain. You will be marked by sulfur and salt. You will bathe endlessly in clear streams and fail to rid yourself of that scent.
Your feet will never be your own. Stone will be your path. Storms will follow in your wake, destroying all those who take you in. You will desert your children, kill your lovers, and devour their flesh. You will love no one but the wind and ache of your bones. Neither will love you in return. With age, your hair will grow matted and dull. Your skin will gape and hang in long folds. Your eyes will cease to shine, but nothing will be enough. The sea will never take you back.
Next, I would like to call up Grace Mullinex.
I go back to May 1937 by Sharon Olds. I see them standing at the formal gates of their colleges. I see my father strolling out under the Orc sandstone arch, the red tiles glinting like bent plates of blood behind his head. I see my mother with a few light books at her hip, standing at the pillar made of tiny bricks, the wrought iron gate still open behind her, its sword tips aglow in the May air. They are about to graduate. They are about to get married. They are kids. They're dumb. All they know is they are innocent and they would never hurt anybody. I want to go up to them and say, stop! Don't do it. She's the wrong woman. He's the wrong man. You are going to do things you can't imagine you'd ever do. You are going to do bad things to children. You are going to suffer in ways you had not heard of. You are going to want to die. I want to go up to them there in the late May sunlight and say it. Her hungry, pretty face turning to me. Her pitiful, beautiful, untouched body. His arrogant, handsome face turning to me. His pitiful, beautiful, untouched body. But I don't do it. I want to live. I take them up like the male and female paper dolls and bang them together at the hips like chips of flint as if to strike sparks from them. And I say, do what you are going to do. And I will tell about it.
Next, I would like to call up Lacey Easy.
Ghazal by Aga Shahid Ali. Feel the patient's heart pounding. Oh, please, this once. James Merrill. I'll do what I must if I'm bold in real time. A refugee, I'll be paroled in real time. Cool evidence clawed off like shirts of hellfire. A former existence untold in real time. The one you would choose. Were you led then by him? What longing, O Yar, is controlled in real time? Each syllable sucked under waves of our earth. The funeral love comes to hold in real time. They left him alive so that he could be lonely. The God of small things is not consoled in real time. Please, afterwards, empty my pockets of keys. It's hell in the city of gold in real time. God's angels again are for Satan forlorn. Salvation was bought, but sin sold in real time. And who is the terrorist? Who the victim? We'll know if the country is polled in real time. Behind a door marked danger are being unwound. The prayers my friend had scrolled in real time. The throat of the rear view and sliding down at the street of farewell now rolled in real time. I heard the incessant dissolving of silk. I felt my heart growing so old in real time. Her heart must be ash where her body lies burned. What hope lets your hands rake the cold in real time? Now, friend, the beloved has stolen your words. Read slowly. The plot will unfold in real time.
Next, I would like to call up Amaya Ham.
Father by Edgar Albert Guest. My father knows the proper way the nation should be run. He tells us children every day just what should now be done. He knows the way to fix the trust. He has a simple plan, but if the furnace needs repairs, we have to hire a man. My father, in a day or two, could land big thieves in jail. There's nothing that he cannot do. He knows no word like fail. Our confidence he would restore, of that there is no doubt. But if there is a chair to mend, we have to send it out. All public questions that arise, he settles on the spot. He waits not till the tumult dies, but grabs it while it's hot. In matters of finance, he could tell Congress what to do. But oh, he finds it hard to meet his bills as they fall due. It almost makes him sick to read the things lawmakers say. Why, father's just the man they need. He never goes astray. All wars he'd very quickly end, as fast as I can write it. But when a neighbor starts a fuss, 'tis mother has to fight it. In conversation, father can do many wondrous things. He's built upon a wiser plan than presidents or kings. He knows the ins and outs of each, and every deep transaction. We look to him for theory, but look to Ma for action.
Next is Jada McIntyre.
Shelter Garden by Hilda Doolittle. I have had enough. I gasp for breath. Every way ends, every road, every footpath leads at last to the hill crest. Then you retrace your steps or find the same slope on the other side, precipitate. I have had enough. Border pinks, clove pinks, wax lilies, herbs, sweet cress. Oh, for some sharp swish of a branch. There is no scent of resin in this place. No taste of bark, of coarse weeds, aromatic, astringent. Only border on border of scented pinks. Have you seen fruit under cover that wanted light? Pears watered in cloth, protected from the frost. Melons, almost ripe, smothered in straw. Why not let the pears cling to the empty branch? All your coaxing will only make a bitter fruit. Let them cling, ripen of themselves, test their own worth. Nipped, shriveled by the frost, to fall at last, but fair, with a russet coat. Or the melon, let it bleach yellow in the winter light, even tart to the taste. It is better to taste of frost, the exquisite frost, than of wadding and of dead grass. For this beauty, beauty without strength, chokes out life. I want wind to break, scatter these pink stalks, snap off their spiced heads, fling them about with dead leaves. Spread the paths with twigs, limbs broken off, trail great pine branches, hurled from some far wood right across the melon patch. Break pear and quince. Leave half trees, torn and twisted, but showing the fight was valiant. Oh, to blot out this garden, to forget, to find a new beauty in some terrible, wind-tortured place.
Next is Sophia Jagley.
The film by Kate Northrup. Come, let's go in. The ticket taker has shyly grinned, and it's almost time, lovely one. Let's go in. The wind tonight's too wild. The sky too deep, too thin. Already, it's time. The lights have dimmed. Come, loveliest. Let's go in and know that these bodies we do not have to own, passing quietly as dreams, as snow. Already, leaves are falling, and music begins. Lovely one, it's time. Let's go in.
Next is Sarah Samarani.
The Gaff by C.K. Williams. 1. If that someone who's me, yet not me, yet who judges me, is always with me, as he is, shouldn't he have told me? If he who rakes me with such not trivial shame for minor sins now were there then, shouldn't he have told me the contrition cycle would from then be ever upon me? I'm a child then, yet already I've composed this conscious beast who harries me. Is there anything else I can say with certainty about who I was except that he, could already draw from infinitesimal transgressions complex chords of remorse and orchestrate ever undiminishing retribution from the hapless rest of myself? 2. The son of some friends of my parents has died. And my parents, paying their call, take me along. And I'm sent out with the dead boy's brother and some others to play. We're joking around, and some words come to my mind, which, to my amazement, are said. How do you know when you can laugh when somebody dies? Your brother dies? Is what's said. And the others go quiet. The backyard goes quiet. Everyone stares. And I want to know now why that someone in me, who's me, yet not me, let me say it.
Shouldn't he have told me the contrition cycle would from then be ever upon me? It didn't matter that I'd really only wanted to know how grief ends and when. I could hear the boy's mother sobbing inside, then stopping, sobbing, then stopping. Was the end of her grief already there? Had her someone in her told her it would end? Was her someone in her kinder to her, not tearing at her as mine did, still does, me? Or guessing grief someday ends? Is that why her sobbing stops sometimes? She didn't laugh though, or I never heard her. How do you know when you can laugh? Why couldn't someone have been there in me, not just to accuse me, but to explain? The kids were playing again. I was playing. I didn't hear anything more from inside. The way now, sometimes what's in me is silent too. And sometimes, though never really, forgets.
For our final recitator of round 1, I would like to call up Abby McLaughlin.
Dear Reader, by Rita Mae Reese. You have forgotten it all. You've forgotten your name, where you lived, who you loved, why. I am simply your nurse, terse and unlovely. I point to things and remind you what they are. Chair, book, daughter, soup. And when we are alone, I tell you what lies in each direction. This way is death, and this way, after a longer walk, is death. And that way is death. But you won't see it until it is right in front of you. Once, after your niece had been to visit you, and I said something about how you must love her, or she must love you, or something useless like that, you gripped my forearm in your terrible swift hand and said, "She is everything." You gave me a shake. Everything to me. And then you fell back into the well, deep in the well of everything. And I stand at the edge and call, chair, book, daughter, soup.
That completes our round 1 of Poetry Out Loud 2018. Please give a round of applause to our great
All right, everybody, welcome back to our second round of this Poetry Out Loud competition. First up, we have Denasia Wesley.
Love Song by Dorothy Parker. My own dear love, he is strong and bold, and he cares not what comes after. His words ring sweet as a chime of gold, and his eyes are lit with laughter. He is jubilant as a flag unfurled. Oh, a girl, she'd not forget him. My own dear love, he is all my world, and I wish I'd never met him. My love, he's mad, and my love, he's fleet. And a wild young wood thing bore him. The waves are fair to his roaming feet, and the skies are sunlit for him. As sharply sweet to my heart he seems as the fragrance of acacia. My own dear love, he is all my dreams, and I wish he were in Asia. My love runs by like a day in June, and he makes no friends of sorrows who'll tread his galloping rigadoon in the pathway of the morrows. He'll live his days where the sunbeams start, nor could storm or wind uproot him. My own dear love, he is all my heart, and I wish somebody'd shoot him.
Next up, we have Grace Garand.
Under the Lemon Tree by Marcia de la O. Not rain, but fine mist falls from my lemon tree, a balm of droplets in green shadow. 6 years now, my mother gone to earth. This dew, light as footsteps of the dead. She often walked out here, craned her neck, considered the fruit. Hundreds of globes in their leathery hides, figuring on custard and pudding, meringue, and holidays. But her plans didn't work out. The tree goes on unceasingly. Lemons fall and fold into earth and begin again. Me. I come here as a salve against heat. Come to languish, to let the soft burst, essence of citrus, summer's distillate, drift into my face and settle. Water and gold brew at the far end of the season. Leaves swallow the body of light, and breath of water brims over. My hands cup each other the way hers did.
Next we have Hiam Ali.
I Sit and Sew by Alice Moore Dunbar Nelson. I sit and sew, a useless task it seems. My hands grown tired, my head weighed down with dreams. The panoply of war, the martial tread of men, grim face, stern-eyed, gazing beyond the ken of lesser souls whose eyes have not seen death, nor learned to hold their lives but as a breath. But I must sit and sew. I sit and sew. My heart aches with desire, that pageant terrible, that fiercely pouring fire on wasted fields and writhing, grotesque things, once men. My soul in pity flings appealing cries, yearning only to go there in that holocaust of hell, those fields of woe. But I must sit and sew. The little useless seam, the idle patch. Why dream I here beneath my homely thatch, when there they lie in sodden mud and rain, pitifully calling me, the quick ones and the slain? You need me, Christ. It is no roseate dream that beckons me. This pretty, futile scene, it stifles me. God, must I sit and sew?
Our next recitator is Siham Abu Taha.
Always Something More Beautiful by Stephen Dunn. This time, I came to the starting place with my best running shoes and pure speed. Held back for the finish came with only love of the clock and the underfooting and the other runners. Each of us would be testing excellence and endurance. In the other, though, in the past, I'd often veer off to follow some feral distraction down a side path, allowing myself to pursue something odd or beautiful, becoming acquainted with a few of the ways not to blame myself for failing to succeed. I had come to believe what's beautiful had more to do with daring, to take yourself seriously, to stay the course, whatever the course might be. The person in front seemed ready to fade his long, graceful stride shortening as I came up along his side. I was sure now I'd at least exceed my best time. But the man with the famous final kick already had begun his move. Beautiful, I heard a spectator say, as if something inevitable, about to come from nowhere, was again on its way.
Up next is John David Haidt.
Self-Inquiry Before the Job Interview by Gary Soto. Did you sneeze? Yes, I rid myself of the imposter inside me. Did you iron your shirt? Yes, I used the steam of mother's hate. Did you wash your hands? Yes, I learned my hygiene from a raccoon. I prayed on my knees and my knees answered with pain. I gargled. I polished my shoes until I saw who I was. I inflated my resume by employing my middle name. I walked to my interview early, the sun like a ring on an electric stove. I patted my hair when I entered the wind of a revolving door. The guard said, "For a guy like you, it's the 19th floor." The economy was up, flags whipped in every city plaza in America. This I saw for myself as I rode the elevator, empty, because everyone had a job but me. Did you clean your ears? Yes. I heard my fate in the drinking fountain's idiotic drivel. Did you slice a banana into your daily mush? I added a pinch of salt to raisins to sweeten my breath. Did you remember your pen? I remembered my fingers when the elevator opened. I shook hands that dripped like a dirty sea. I found a chair and desk. My name tag said, my name. Through the glass ceiling, I saw the heavy rumps of CEOs. Outside my window, the sun was a burning stove. All of us pushing papers to keep it going.
Our next recitator is Sophia Parrish.
Quite Frankly by Mark Halliday. They got old. They got old and died. But first, they composed plangent depictions of how much they lost and how much cared about losing. Meantime,
Their hair got thin and more thin as their shoulders went slumpy. Okay, but not before the photo albums got arranged by them. Arranged with a niftiness. Not just 2 or 3, but 18 photo albums. Yes, 18 eventually. 18 albums proving the beauty of them and not someone else. Them and their relations and friends. Incontrovertible. Playing croquet in that Bloomington yard, floating on those comic inflatables at Dow Lake, giggling at the Dairy Queen, waltzing at the wedding, building a Lego palace on the porch, holding the baby beside the rental truck, leaning on the Hemingway statue at Pamplona, discussing the eternity of art in that Sardinian restaurant. Yes, and so, quite frankly, at the end of the day, they got old and died. Okay, sure, but quite frankly, how much does that matter in view of the 18 photo albums? Big ones, 13 inches by 12 inches, each full of such undeniable beauty.
Up next, we have Grace Mullenix.
Cartoon Physics Part 1 by Nick Flynn. Children under, say, 10 shouldn't know that the universe is ever expanding, inexorably pushing into the vacuum, galaxies swallowed by galaxies, whole solar systems collapsing. All of it acted out in silence. At 10, we're still learning the rules of cartoon animation, that if a man draws a door on a rock, only he can pass through it. Anyone else who tries will crash into the rock. 10-year-olds should stick with burning houses, car wrecks, ships going down, earthbound, tangible disasters, arenas where they can be heroes. You can run back into a burning house, sinking ships, have lifeboats, the trucks will come with their ladders. If you jump, you will be saved. A child places her hand on the roof of a school bus and drives across a city of sand. She knows the exact spot it will skid, at which point the bridge will give, who will swim to safety, and who will be pulled under by sharks. She will learn that if a man runs off the edge of a cliff, he will not fall, until he notices his mistake.
Up next is Lacey Easy.
The Poem You've Been Waiting For by Tarfia Faizullah. I saw then the wide-eyed man leaning in to see if I was ready yet, to go where he has been waiting to take me. I saw then the gnawing sounds my faith has been making, and I saw too that the shape it sings in is the color of cast iron mountains. I drove so long to find I forgot I had been looking for them. For the you that I once knew and the you that was born waiting for me to find you. I have been twisting and turning across these lifetimes where forgetting me is what you do so you don't have to look at yourself. I saw that I would drown in a creek, carved out of a field, our incarnations forged, the first path through to those mountains. I invited you to stroll with me there again for the first time, to pause and sprawl in the grass, while I read to you the poem you had known you've been waiting to hear. I read until you finally slept, and all your jagged syntaxes softened into rest. You're always driving so far from me, towards the me I worry without you is eternity. I lay there, awake, keeping watch while you snore. I waited, as I always seem to, for you to wake up and come back to me.
Our next recitator is Amaya Ham.
Ways of Talking by Ha Jin. We used to like talking about grief. Our journals and letters were packed with losses, complaints, and sorrows. Even if there was no grief, we wouldn't stop lamenting, as though longing for the charm of a distressed face. Then we couldn't help expressing grief. So many things descended without warning. Labor wasted, loves lost, houses gone, marriages broken, friends estranged, ambitions worn away by immediate needs. Words lined up in our throats for a good whining. Grief seemed like an endless river, the only immortal flow of life. After losing a land and then giving up a tongue, we stopped talking of grief. Smiles began to brighten our faces. We laughed a lot at our own mess. Things become beautiful, even hailstones in the strawberry fields.
Up next is Jada McIntyre.
The River Now by Richard Hugo. Hardly a ghost left to talk with now. The Slavs moved on, or changed their names to something green. Greeks gave up old dishes and slid into repose. Huge meals, bang and smoke. Day hangs thick with commerce. And my favorite home, always overgrown with roses, collapsed like Morwood Vice. Tugs still pound against the outside pour, but real, running on some definite fuel. I can't dream anything, not some lovely woman murdered in a shack, not sawmills going broke, not even wild wine in a landslide, though I knew both well. The blood still begs direction home. This river points the way north to the blood. The blue stars certain in their swing, their fix. I pass the backwash where the cattails still lean north. Familiar greaves pop up. The windshield is the same. And it comes back with the odor from the river. Some way I know the lonely sources of despair break down from too much love. No matter how this river, fragrance in the reeds, it rejoins the river and the bright bay north receives it all. New salmon on their way to open ocean. The easy tag returned.
Up next, we have Sophia Jagley.
Mingus at the Showplace by William Matthews. I was miserable, for I was 17. And so I swung into action and wrote a poem, and it was miserable. For that was how I thought poetry worked. You digested experience and shat literature. It was 1960 at the Showplace, long since defunct, on West 4th Street, and I sat at the bar, casting beer money from a thin reel of ones. The kid in the city, big ears like a puppy. And I knew Mingus was a genius. I knew 2 other things, but they were wrong, as it happened. So I made him look at the poem. There's a lot of that going around, he said. And sweet baby Jesus, he was right. He laughed amiably. He didn't look as if he thought bad poems were dangerous, the way some poets do. If they were baseball executives, they'd plot to destroy sandlots everywhere so that the game could be saved from children. Of course, later that night, he fired his pianist in mid-number and flurried him from the stand. We've suffered a diminuendo in personnel, he explained, and the band played on.
Up next, we have Sarah Samrani.
The Day Lady Died by Frank O'Hara. It is 12:20 in New York, a Friday 3 days after Bastille Day. Yes, it is 1959, and I go get a shoe shine because I will get off the 419 in East Hampton at 7:15 and then go straight to dinner, and I don't know the people who will feed me. I walk up the muggy street beginning to sun with a hamburger and a malted, and buy an ugly New World writing to see what the poets in Ghana are doing these days. I go on to the bank, and Miss Stillwagon, first name Linda, I once heard, doesn't even look up my balance for once in her life. And in the Golden Griffin, I get a little Verlaine for Patsy with drawings by Bernard. Although I do think of Hesiod Trans, Richmond Lattimore, or Brendan Behan's new play, or Le Balcon, or Les Négres of Jeanette. But I don't. I stick with Verlaine after practically going to sleep with Quandrinus. And for Mike, I just stroll into the Park Lane liquor store and ask for a bottle of Verlaine. And then I go back where I came from, to 6th Avenue, and the tobacconist in the Ziegfeld Theater, and casually ask for a carton of Gauloise and a carton of Picayunes, and a New York Post with her face on it. And I am sweating a lot by now, and thinking of leaning on the John Doerr in the 5 spot, while she whispered a song along the keyboard. To Mal Waldron, everyone and I stopped breathing.
And last, but certainly not least, we have Abby McLaughlin.
Beautiful Wreckage by W.D. Earhart. What if I didn't shoot the old lady, running away from our patrol? Or the old man in the back of the head? Or the boy in the marketplace? Or what if the boy, but he didn't have a grenade, and the woman Way didn't lie in the rain in a mortar pit with 7 Marines just for food? Gaffney didn't get hit in the knee. Ames didn't die in the river. Ski didn't die in a medevac chopper between Con Tien and Da Nang. In Vietnamese, Con Tien means place of angels. What if it really was? Instead of the place of rotting sandbags, incoming heavy artillery, rats, and mud? What if the angels were Ames and Ski? Or the lady, the man, and the boy? And they lifted Gaffney out of the mud and healed his shattered knee. What if none of it happened the way I said? Would it all be a lie? Would the wreckage be suddenly beautiful? Would the dead rise up and walk?
And that concludes round 2 of our 2018 Poetry Out Loud competition. At this time, we are going to take a quick 10-minute break to give Mr. Shaver a chance to tally the marks. So we'll be back in 10 minutes. Welcome back. Before we announce the winner of the 2018 Poetry Out Loud competition, I would like to give another round of applause to our 13 contestants. And in recognition, I will be calling each one up to receive your piece of paper that says Poetry Out Loud on it. Abby McLaughlin. Sarah Samarani. Jada McIntyre. John David Height. Sophia Parrish. Lacey Easy. Amaya Ham. Sophia Jegley. Siham Abu Taha. Grace Garan. Hiam Ali. Denasia Wesley. Grace Mullinex. by 1/3 of a point. Our 2018 Poetry Out Loud winner for Toledo Early College is Denasia Wesley. If Denasia will not be able to take her place at the competition, the person who will be taking her place if she can't be there is Lacey Easy. Thank you all so much for being here. Please give a round of applause to our 13 competitors.